modeling cognition and the physical universe as functional state space computers. Human-centric functional modeling posits that the behavior of the cognitive system can be modeled using constructs called functional state spaces or FSS, as can any dynamically stable system of functionality in general. Any FSS is a graph containing a directed network of nodes, where the nodes represent functional states. These nodes are connected by edges representing the processes through which systems might transition from one functional state to the next. An example is the hypothetical conceptual space representing the thoughts of the cognitive system. This network is hypothesized to exist in a three-dimensional space in which the distance between concepts is a semantic distance that reflects how similar concepts are in terms of how many reasoning connections they share with other concepts. As the number of reasoning links shared in common decreases, the semantic distance between two concepts increases. This semantic distance, however, doesn't just exist in the conceptual space as the FSS of the cognitive system. It is also hypothesized to exist in all FSS, making each FSS a semantic representation of functional states and the transition processes between them. FSS differ from other state spaces in that this network is hypothesized to be spanned by a set of reversible functions in that any reversible or irreversible transition process can be represented as some composition of these functions. In the case of the conceptual space as the hypothetical FSS of the cognitive system, this network is hypothesized to be spanned by a set of four reversible reasoning functions in that any reasoning process can be represented as some composition of these functions. These reflect the functions that reasoning has been determined by cognitive science to have, namely intuition or System 1 reasoning, and logic or System 2 reasoning, as well as other observable functions of cognition, such as storage and recall. This concept has profound and groundbreaking implications in AI as well, since the FSS of the cognitive system is hypothesized to provide a portable semantic representation for knowledge. If so, this representation might also make the knowledge within AI portable as well. Given the AI industry's goal of investing up to $7 trillion in infrastructure for training AI, any such infrastructure that results in the knowledge achieved through that training becoming portable could have market-changing significance. In this model, the mind or any other system whose behavior can be modeled as moving through an FSS is an FSS computer. Any FSS computer solves the same problem of accepting input signals from fields or producing output signals to fields, and computing a non-deterministic path through its FSS, where this path maintains dynamical stability in its fitness space. The cognitive system is hypothesized to be an FSS computer that receives signals from and sends signals to the nervous system, where these signals are represented in terms of a field. This FSS computer navigates the conceptual space, which is the FSS of cognition. Similarly, the body, emotions, and consciousness are also hypothesized to be FSS computers, along with a number of other FSS computers in the human organism that we are not consciously aware of. Every region of matter and/or antimatter is also represented as an FSS computer as it interacts with the energy in surrounding electromagnetic and other fields to compute its own path through its FSS. Collectively, these regions form a distributed FSS computer. The importance of modeling living systems as FSS computers is that it allows us to see the network-based intelligence underlying multicellularity in living systems, and how we might generalize the network effects capable of increasing that intelligence so we might reuse those effects in other systems. For example, such network effects might help us to radically increase our general problem-solving ability in groups. The importance of modeling matter and/or antimatter as distributed FSS computers is both that it might introduce network effects in the study of physics that make our understanding of physics more powerful, and it might allow us to create far more intelligent materials. From this network-based perspective, currently we largely solve problems independently, metaphorically like single-celled organisms. However, single cellularity can only solve the problems that can be addressed through simple structures like slime. Multicellularity, on the other hand, can solve vastly more complex problems like vision and cognition. The formation of FSS is hypothesized to occur when systems interact with their external environment, resulting in those systems changing irreversibly until they develop a set of functions with which to reversibly navigate some aspect of that environment. Adding sets of reversible functions can continue until the functional system doesn't gain additional fitness in achieving the targeted outcome. Looking at the outcome as being the production of entropy, then sets of reversible functions can't be added past the system's ability to tell additional fitness in producing entropy from noise. When signals from the environment push the system past this point, the system behavior is hypothesized to emerge into a potentially new FSS. In this way, the natural balance for human organism, and the universe as a whole, is hypothesized to be evolving over time into a hierarchy of FSS computers. As a conceptual example, biological processes aren't in general reversible. However, if a biological organism had to navigate the real number plane in order to optimize some outcome, then because it is not known beforehand where on the plane that optimum lies, the organism would have to do so by using a set of functions such as addition, reversible through subtraction, and multiplication, reversible through division, both of which are reversible in that number plane. It is hypothesized that all processes that are used by an FSS computer to navigate an FSS must be reversible within that FSS. If physical matter and/or antimatter can be represented as an FSS only at macroscopic scales, then this FSS might be useful as a universal 3D data format. If FSS is valid at all scales, then this suggests all of the known interactions must have inverses, and therefore suggests that there is hypothetically inverse gravity. Since all functional states in an FSS hypothetically belong to a single category, it suggests there is a single category of particle that one might call a physical entity particle, from which all properties of all known particles arise. However, this doesn't necessarily call for an entirely new physics. If all the components of FSS can be found in existing and/or emerging theories in physics and mathematics as hypothesized, then as a consequence, the concept of matter and antimatter being a distributed network of FSS computers might already have sound theoretical grounding. If the FSS representation is valid at all scales, the behavior of physical matter and/or antimatter is hypothesized to act as a distributed FSS computer, or metaphorically, as the distributed mind of the universe that computes the evolution of matter/antimatter. The way that awareness of the state of physical matter spreads is hypothesized to act as the metaphorical distributed consciousness of the universe. The result of viewing the entire universe in this human-centric way is potentially that some of the same geometric relationships that have meaning in the physical world might also be expected to have meaning in any FSS. Some examples are the patterns of networks in conceptual space that create the potential to radically increase impact per program dollar on collective challenges like poverty, as exemplified in the area of improving agricultural livelihoods by the school uniform value chain. These patterns of networks are natural outcomes of cooperating with artificially augmented collective intelligence that is broad or general. In analogy with the concept of broad or general artificial intelligence, known as strong AI, the concept of this general collective intelligence is similarly known as strong collective intelligence or strong CI. In a single-cell-like strategy, in optimizing their own individual outcomes, everyone competes for a slice of what might be a limited pie. In a multicellular-like strategy, as automated by a hypothetical general collective intelligence or GCI platform, participants can cooperate to create network effects that significantly increase collective outcomes. As a result, everyone cooperates to share what might be a much larger pie. The circular economy pattern with existing products and services is represented by a closed loop, a closed network, in functional state space. This is equivalent to solving a closed set of problems with a closed set of solutions. Thanks for watching.